us, either or, just let us know. We're here at Bullion Now, obviously, doing a live stream. I'm Joe.
I'm Michael.
All right. And we're working.
We're working.
Fantastic.
We've had confirmation.
Excellent. Good stuff.
Welcome to our first live stream.
We thought we'd do it today under lockdown. We had time.
Yes, we're not inundated with customers
Yes.
today through the door for some reason.
Don't know why.
Yeah.
So we've got a bit of stuff to talk about. This is very free-flowing. This is kind of off the cuff. We don't have... this is a trial. This is, let's see what happens. We may stuff up. We
will.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I'll guarantee you that one.
Confident. So yeah, let's just take it as it is, and we're going to talk about a few things. We'll talk about the market. We'll talk about spot price, possible announcement, maybe, or talking about an announcement.
Maybe a viewer special.
Maybe a viewer special, quite possibly.
That you'll get a lead into before anyone else gets it.
Yep, I've got my handy laptop here. I'll be looking through the chats and reading some of that, and we might do a bit of Michael's mailbox on the cuff, off the cuff, I should say.
Yeah, and absolutely join in. We're wanting people to join in, so throw in your comments, ask questions. We're more than happy to answer whatever we can, and we'll throw it open to any discussions that you particularly want to have. But absolutely join in as much as you want into the conversations.
How about we start off just talking about the general lockdown thing, because we announced it this morning of what the deal is at the moment in terms of click and collect and all that, but you go for it.
So I'm not really sure what to say. We're under lockdown yet again. So this is version 5 for us. We are endeavouring. I'll try and use English. Endeavouring to stay open as much as we practically can. Now we've never closed yet through any of the lockdowns because I'm not trying to get on a high horse here, but fundamentally, you buy bullion. One of the reasons a lot of people buy bullion is for when it all goes pear-shaped.
Yeah.
The last thing you want is your local bullion store to shut down when it all goes pear-shaped, so you can't actually access either the funds or the metal that you need to access during that time. So it's really, really important for us to stay open during these lockdowns. So we are fighting to stay open as much as we can. We are officially open for click and collect only, but we think we can manage and stay within the law. We think we can manage all the normal types of stuff. So any buybacks that you require, any sales you require. It might take a bit of gymnastics, phone orders or internet orders, and then pick up from here, or with purchases, buybacks. So phone in, lock in the purchase price, the spot price that we're buying back at. Remembering we always buy back at spot. Locking in that purchase price and then organising how we receive the goods and forward you the funds. So we're not going to step outside the law, but we will do our very best to work within the law for any lockdown services that we can offer you.
Absolutely. We're getting a few questions in already. Do you want me to read off some of those?
Yeah,
why
absolutely.
not?
If we're organised, I'd be able to see the questions.
Well, we've actually got... It's weird. I got to say, it's weird seeing us on this screen. You guys can't. No, actually, you can see it. It's weird with the delay and everything. Looks like we've got 64 people watching. Congratulations. Wow. So good stuff.
There you go. I had odds on the fact that we'd only...
I thought we got like 5 maybe.
Yeah, and 3 of those would have been internal.
Out of 14,600 subscribers.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's been an amazing journey from when did I start? When did the Bullion... Well, I started the day I started. So what was that?
So we started in
January of 2019.
Yeah. So officially BN started in October, I think it was.
2018.
October of 2018 was Bullion Now as a company. I mean, it existed in various forms prior to that, but officially it started in that October 2018.
I came in around about the January of 2019,
and then we kicked off with YouTube.
Oh, that week I think it was. I started the channel. Maybe.
Yeah, but yeah.
It's a husband and wife just arguing. Hey, I just thought maybe we can have... No, I'm not going to, but maybe we should have the Bitcoin, the debate.
No, we'd still be here late tonight and I'd be paying everyone overtime.
For those who are not familiar with this, who haven't seen a lot of our videos, we've spent between the day I started and now we've attempted a Bullion versus Bitcoin or cryptocurrency thing for how many times? At least 6 maybe.
Yeah.
And every single time it comes to something where we go, we're going to stop and we'll start again.
Mind you, it takes us 2 hours of filming to get to that.
Yes.
So and we're not doing the crypto one today.
Good luck trying to actually get 2 hours to do anything before a customer comes in. But a great opportunity, today again to do this live stream. So
questions. Let's go.
Okay, all right. I'll go through
thanks, Rubes.
Just a few comments and maybe some questions as well. So Sean Pugh was the first one in the house, it seems, and he's like, "Yo, it's lit." Well, that's good. First live stream with the boys, absolutely. We've got Idikuchi1. Let's hope it's them playing cricket for an hour because they're locked down and have nothing to do. We've actually got a lot to do.
It's been a busy old day, actually.
Yeah.
Far busier than I thought.
We probably could have spent this doing some kind of audit or, something else. But, we want to do something for the...
Yeah, we did talk about
for the fans. Trump 2024. I think we know their political affiliation. So why is Victoria, Australia in lockdown? Well, you must be, I'm presuming, somewhere in the States. We're in lockdown because we're in lockdown.
Yeah.
That's probably as much as we can say.
We've had 10 cases today.
Right.
So
wow.
Somebody in the States would be going...
10?
Come again? You've locked down over 10 cases?
I think that's a total of 24 now.
I think that's a grand total of 24.
And a population of approximately 22, 23 million now?
Oh, no, now you're looking at the whole country.
Oh, so, can't do that.
Yeah, because they've had in excess of 1,000 cases.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Sydney.
Sorry, yes, okay.
So,
but in Victoria, what are we in Victoria?
I don't know, 6 million, 7 million, something like that.
Something.
Yeah.
Okay. The Midnight Gardener, who is one of our avid subscribers, I'm just waiting on the highly infectious hyperinflation to hit. Yes, that was a good one. We think that might hit somewhere eventually. I mean, look at Venezuela, look at some of the other South American countries. Hyperinflation already happening.
Do you want to step sideways and talk about inflation for a minute?
Absolutely. Yes.
So, none of this is investment advice. Okay,
Let's
start off with
none
that.
of this is investment advice. We sell bullion. Yeah, cool.
But I actually think we're in inflation now. I wouldn't call it hyperinflation.
Okay.
I think we're in inflation now. I mean, have you seen the cost of fuel recently?
Yeah.
In Australian dollar terms, we seem to be paying somewhere around about that $1.40, $1.50 a litre.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things are going up. We're not recognising them.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally think that the government is not recognising actual figures. I think they've got
They fudge the numbers?
I'm trying not to say that.
Okay,
their
don't say that.
Their basket that they measure it by, I think, is changing and is very selective.
It's easy to put something back in the basket, pull it out for the right bit of data that you need, and then
So I think I'd suggest, and I've said this to many people, that you run your own basket of the types of things, because the things that you buy, you being a father with younger kids than what I've got, we would have different things in our basket.
Different risk tolerances.
Different inflation triggers.
Oh, yeah.
And factors. So I run an inflation basket for my family, just out of curiosity, and I update it every couple of months.
That's interesting.
Sort of thing. And I'm seeing well in excess, inflation for our family, well in excess of what any official figures are saying. So I firmly believe that we are in inflation. I don't think as a country we will hit the hyperinflation, the Venezuela type situation. Personally,
why not?
I think that as a Western culture, we've seen the big inflations of the 70s and 80s, the repercussions of that, and I think that the governments will do whatever they can to avoid those situations.
So
I could be naive in this, and I know there'll be. I'm not looking at the questions going through.
Yeah, here we go.
I'll bet we're triggering a few points here, but I don't think that we will hit those hyperinflation numbers. I can certainly see us hitting. I can remember interest rates at 16, 17, 18%. I can see that conceivably coming over the years. I can't see us hitting those hyperinflation numbers.
Okay, all right, and you're kind of basing that on. We've learnt our lesson previously.
I certainly hope
so. That's where I disagree with you.
I knew you would.
That's where I disagree because, governments are human beings and, humans die. So, the people who have learnt that lesson, and then they're telling their children, or they're telling the people that they're employing under them, and then don't do this and that. But then at a certain point, you get all the newbies coming out of, economics school and all that sort of stuff are coming into the system and are a bit more brighter. Greener, I should say, more sort of bright-eyed, and they're getting told what they're getting told economically, depending on the type of economic degree they have. And is it Austrian? Is it Keynesian? Is it
Yeah.
So
I'm not.
The circle might go all the way back around. Yeah. But who knows? The main thing is we don't know, and because you don't know and we don't know what's going to happen, that's why plug Bullion Now. That's why you invest in precious metals. You invest in other things too. You have a lot of different exit strategies. Not just bullion. Have other stuff which we don't give financial advice, of course.
No, absolutely not. But I think the takeaway from the thing I'd like people to take away is more run your own. Don't take on the government figures. No. And it's not a distrust of government as much as I honestly think, as I said before, you and I have different inflation baskets. Yeah. I think everybody has a different inflation basket depending on where they are in life, and I think it's part of personal responsibility to know kind of what things are going up in your world that are important to you.
I've got a question here, literally asking, who's the boss? That's from Silver Arrows. The boss is that guy.
In this context, the boss just means I pay the bills. Frequently, I'm being told what to do around.
Well, that's true, but you are looking at the head of Bullion Now, right here.
We run I don't know if we go into the ethos of the company, but we run very flat command scale here, if you like, or command curve, or command gradient, to use some aviation terms, where all of us can make decisions.
We can put our 2 cents in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way to do it. I think very much so. I'm a firm believer of the fact that I employ people far more intelligent than I am. And
thanks, man.
My biggest job is to get out of their way.
Yeah.
So I hope I get out of everyone's way.
Yep, fair enough.
But yes, technically my name is on the bottom line of what we do.
We've got a couple of people. We've got one person saying here, just out of interest for the technical side of things, for the guys behind the camera, stream is lagging a bit. Now, that's possibly because of your own internet connection. Not quite sure, but the guys behind the camera will figure out whether that's our end or whether that's possibly at your end. Who I said was SAW. What else we got? Now, this is an interesting one, and I know the answer. Is Bullion Now? This is from Lapetian, Lapetiin. Is Bullion Now that's a fair question, an LGBTQIA plus friendly store? Yes.
I think so, but I don't actually know what half those letters stand for, so I'm showing my ignorance now.
all the spectrums of the rainbow.
I know what we're talking about.
Yes.
Sure.
What? Yes. Short answer. Where's Matt? Hang on. Posted by Matt Thompson. Oi, he's out there too. Matt Thompson just posted, "Where's Matt?" Well, Matt, you know exactly where you are, mate. We might possibly get him in a minute because we want to talk about a couple of some numismatic things.
Lunch.
Yes.
A long lunch, I might say. I don't know if it was a liquid lunch, but he's definitely been on lunch.
Voice of Reason has said, "I'm glad to see this channel taking off." Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. UA Eustick is asking, who does Michael barrack for? The Hot Pies?
Hang on, what are we talking AFL
Probably
here?
talking AFL here.
We're talking AFL. I'm a backslidden Hawthorn supporter.
Okay.
I don't know, how political am I allowed to get here?
I don't know, as much as the YouTube overlords will allow us.
I was a keen Hawthorn supporter growing up.
Okay. Very,
very much. Loved footy, attended games, played footy myself, all that sort of stuff. As I grew older, and particularly as I got kids, I didn't like what was happening in the football scene. I don't like the way a lot of our football players are treated as demigods.
Okay.
and I don't like the way that laws are bent around them.
Mm.
So more and more I find myself pulling back because I don't want those examples for my kids.
Fair enough. You mean the fact that a whole plane load of
I'm not sure if we want to start giving examples.
the day before lockdown? No, I don't know.
No, well, it's not. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's a lot of other things where it makes me nervous when we have our heroes, particularly our kids' heroes, are given special treatment when it comes to laws and examples, and I find that very much in the sporting and particularly in Victoria, the AFL scene,
Okay.
and I don't like that for my kids as an example, so I've pulled right back.
Fair enough. We've got another question here. A lot of questions coming through, so I really appreciate it. Thank you. I may not get to all of them, may not get to all the comments. Begotten Creation has asked, what are your opinions on gilded and bimetallic coins? Now, you can answer that, but we might even bring Matt in. Well, shall we come back to that one?
Come back to that.
All right, come back to that one.
I like this. Can I jump ahead?
Yeah.
There was one that I just saw come through. I've lost it now.
Yeah.
This is from John Q Citizen. What do you guys have in your personal stacks?
None of your business, sir.
Oh, come on!
But no. That's no. To be very honest, that's the first answer you should consider giving to people if they ask, because you get to know someone. If you say, look, if you say jokingly, none of your business, and they go, oh, come on, mate, yeah. But if they're like, yep, fair enough, I respect your privacy.
Look, your best form of security is to tell
zero. But we work here, so obviously, I invest in the precious metals, and you do. What do I have in my stack? I diversify. I make sure that I've got a wide range of sizes, a wide range of types, so bars and coins. Well, there's only really mainly two types, bars, coins. A range of different brands, and a range of different locations in which they may or may not be stored. And that's pretty much it. I mean, if I talk about some of my favorite stuff, I've got your general, just your buyback coins. I've got your old stuff that's been, just been bought back from, customers and stuff like that. But I've also got brand new at the time, silver bullet, silver shield stuff with the limited mintages and all that. So I've got your more semi-newmy sort of stuff as well. But then I've got your plain old, kilo bars that weren't brand new when I bought them. I have some pamps as well with certificates. So it's just making sure that, again, you've got diversification with size and type and brand and that, because you want as much, not financial advice, but you want as much as many options as possible when it comes to the selling portion, if you're choosing to sell, because that's also another option that you may never choose to sell. You may choose to borrow against it if there's a time where we're, being able to use it as collateral again, going down the total rabbit hole here. But diversify is the main thing. Yeah. What about you?
I hold lots of different things.
Yeah.
I do hold gold. I hold silver. I love platinum, which is going to upset a few people. I actually, currently, I prefer platinum over the other two.
Yes. Why is that? Give them the quick spiel.
The quick spiel is that it's an industrial metal that is underpriced, that has a lot of potential. Every argument you can carry for silver, I would say, carries far more for platinum.
Yep.
And even to a high degree. I also like the fact that platinum is dearer than silver. So when it comes to storage, like a kilo of silver is about $1,200, and you got to store something, that's decent brick size. $1,200 of platinum is an ounce. In fact, it's less than an ounce. So it's much easier for storage and those types of things. So that's why there's a lot of reasons why I'm a big fan of platinum.
Okay.
So I hold those things. I also hold numismatics. I am a numismatic guy. I started in numis and came back to stacking. I'm worked backwards to most people. I also like holding mining stocks for diversity.
That's a question that someone has asked. What are you into mining stocks? What do you like? So someone from the United States has been asking that.
Yeah, I like mining stocks. I don't like explorers quite so much, although having said that, I do hold a couple. I'm a big fan of smaller mining stocks, but ones that actually have started producing. that actually have something tangible. So that's kind of the area I go into. I also hold other things like shares and banknotes. Pre-Federation, Australians watching this would understand what pre-Federation means, but pre-Federation banknotes, where Australia at that time, if you owned a bank, you could, in fact, if you owned a shop even, but particularly banks could print their own banknotes. Find that
Very
part
cool.
of our history fascinating.
Very cool. That's competition of currencies. That's very cool.
Yeah, it was great fun. So I love that sort of stuff. So that's the sort of things that are in my stack.
We got just lots of. We could literally sit here. I think this could be a 3-hour stream because we're just getting lots of questions through. That's really cool. Golden Reward has asked, do you have any plans of expanding into South Australia in the future as a hedge against lockdown?
Yeah, I actually saw one along the same sort of lines earlier that said, do you plan on, would you consider expanding into other states? The short answer is yes.
Yep.
Nothing
to announce, but yes.
Yeah, nothing to announce at this stage.
No.
We're actually, if I want to give you an insight into BN, we're actually updating some systems at the moment, which will take several months. But part of the hope is once we update those systems, it would actually make it easier for the conversation of should we expand.
Yep, fair enough. Ben Harvey is asking any plans on getting the Royal Mint Queen's Beast Completer coin in.
You're touching a bit of a raw spot on that one. Short answer is yes.
Yeah.
Longer answer is we had a message this morning to say it's been locked up by
Customs,
by Border Force. So we've actually got some on the way, but please don't phone in and say, I want to reserve one or I want to reserve a box or whatever, because they've been locked up by Border Force. You know, they could arrive tomorrow, they could arrive after Christmas. I have no idea.
Right. Adam Florio is asking, are proof coins / low mintage coins worth the bigger premium?
Yes, no. How's that for a dodge? There are all of numismatic coins, whether we're talking Hidefords, whether we're talking reverse proof, whether we're talking high relief, any of these types of coins, it's on a case-by-case basis. And there's been a couple of videos that Matt and I have done where we've actually done an unboxing for our sister company, Little Coin Shop. And at the end of it, I've kind of said to Matt, which one do you think is worth investing in and which do you think is good for just collecting, just for the fun of it? And we have a bit of a discussion around that. It really is a case-by-case basis. There are some that I wouldn't touch with a barge pole, and there are others where I would buy them with my ears pinned back. So it depends is my answer to that question.
Yep, fair enough. Sean is asking, do you guys enjoy poured silver? Do we ever?
Love
poured
it. Silver.
Love it. If you haven't watched the Smithy's Bullion,
Smithy's
Corner segment, that's all hand poured bullion stuff. And I'll see if we can get one. I've got a glove here. We'll see if we can get one picked out of the cabinet, quite possibly. But yeah, we love the poured silver stuff.
Yeah. My favourite is the old poured silver stuff. I tend to get bent out of shape when it comes to some of the history behind what we handle. We've got a special coming up when Ruben finishes doctoring the picture work or whatever we call it, the filming of some nuggets. And I love the history behind nuggets that have been pulled out of the ground. Who's handled them, how long have they been out, how were they discovered, sovereigns, older coins, those things. The release we're going to do, the special release for viewers later on, that we're going to do in this.
Yes.
You start to question: has this coin been through the war? Has it travelled overseas?
Yeah.
Like that sort of stuff. It makes me tingle.
It's history.
So, I love these old poured bars because not only are they beautiful with the ripples through them and the tonings and all that sort of stuff, but who's handled this? Who poured it? Why did they pour it? Where did the metal come from? Is it local metal? Was it pulled out of the ground here? Was it trucked in from somewhere else? Was it brought in from overseas on, and why? Was it a refugee? Was it a wealthy man who, I don't know. Like there's all these
infinite scenarios.
Yeah, and your mind starts to wander down. Why? Why is there a thumbprint in this one? How did it? What's the smudge on it?
Absolutely. Let's see. Is it worth it? Okay, cool. Let's talk about
maybe we should talk about, I think, the release of something that we're going to be releasing, not the special, but the Valiants and the other ones. Shall we?
Good.
Not that one.
Somewhere else for a
And
second.
no, not that. That's coming later. The St. Helena bar in particular.
Okay, so we're going to do, I believe it's over the weekend.
I may even release it later today.
Oh, okay.
Possibly the video.
So we've had some new coins come in. Yesterday we did an epic unboxing. I don't know if they arrived yesterday, but I think we did the epic unboxing
Filmed it
Wednesday, didn't we?
I think it was Wednesday,
Yeah. So I've some fantastic Royal Mint Valiants, both in the 1 ounce and the 10 ounce
yep.
in silver. And also some 10 ounce St. Helena
East India Company
Yep. bars. Fantastic things. Probably the one comment I wanted to make was the St. Helena bars. If you buy them, and I'm not saying don't buy them, obviously because we're trying to sell them, but they do have some rim knocks on them, which I was a little disappointed at. Although I thought Matt's marketing was fantastic on that. He said they're shipwreck coins, because I got a picture of a ship on it. And they're that's authenticity for the shipwreck
Hey, there you
bars.
go. Cool.
But yeah, they do have just slight markings down the rim. It's nothing,
It's not bad.
It's not huge, but we didn't mention it in the video.
Yeah,
we really should have.
We should have, and we needed to mention it before the video was released, so at least we have some kind of, we did mention it before. Not that everyone will see this before that video,
should try
but
and put it on the advert as well.
yeah, we'll put it in we'll put it on there as well.
Just because when I pulled one out on the camera, I don't know if you can see it on my face, but I've kind of gone, oh, I picked a bad one on that, and I thought, well, that's okay, we'll make that shop stock. It was only later on when I went through that I went, there's a number of these that are a bit dodged, so they're not bad. It sounds like I'm making them sound really bad. They're not bad. It's just down the rims of the bar. You can just see little knocks on them and that sort of stuff. But the picture itself, it looks sensational.
But again, we just thought, just in case someone thought it was a little disappointed, we had to let you know. Just in case. Again, it's not bad at all. It's just a couple little things.
I'm feeling really bad. There's heaps of questions in here that we're just not getting to.
Well, I'm trying. We're trying. He's such a slave driver.
Yeah, well,
now, this one here. If Calypso Moon, hey Calypso Moon, you're a very regular subscriber, regular watcher and commenter. Okay, we'll do that. If we were, Calypso Moon asks, if we were to work in a bullion retail environment, do you need any qualifications or specialist knowledge?
Officially, no.
Qualifications, no. Specialist knowledge about you want to be an investor in the precious metals, preferably, yeah.
Whoa, I disagree.
No?
Look, I love it. One of the... Here I go. I'm not trying to brag about... sorry, we're getting some technical comments in the background.
I'll be back. There we go.
One of the things I love about Bullion Now, and I'm bragging about as I'm raising a flag here, is the fact that we have such an eclectic mix of employees. We have people who have been stacking for millennia, it feels like. We also have some young guys in here that, or young people, not just guys, that are only just starting out on their stacking journey.
That's true, as long as they have an interest in learning as well.
Yeah, and we also have got, like myself, I'm not a stacker initially, I'm a Numi guy. Whereas Joe, I think, has always been a stacker. You've never really been into Numis.
I haven't. I started off just with your regular bullion purchases, then got into the sort of silver bullet, silver shield stuff, and the more semi-Numi stuff, but not the full numismatic. I don't own any numismatic stuff. Yeah,
so I would actually argue you need to show keenness, and that would be about all, particularly at Bullion Now. We do have guys that have a huge depth of knowledge. And it's really good, and it's really important to have in the business. But it's also great to have the fresh-faced, enthusiastic. Let's get in there, and I want to learn about this, and I want to tell everyone about it. And, spend 10 minutes on the phone with Sam. Good grief! He's flat out.
That's enthusiastic.
He's just. I mean, we're all enthusiastic in our own way, but he's so effervescent, so bubbly about it. It's fantastic. I would say, if you've got an interest in it, start putting your resume out there and launch into it.
What I would suggest is don't wait, and you really can't wait for an ad to pop up on Seek or whatever, because they don't come up. You get jobs in this industry because of not necessarily who you know, but it's about like to give you the example, and I won't mention the other company that I originally worked for, but I worked for another very well-known bullion company between the years of 2013 to 2016, and I got that job because I literally hounded the guy, the two people who ran that company, and said, I've been stacking for 3 years, I want to work in the industry, here's my resume. And this was kind of towards Christmas time. I was like, oh yeah, cool, no worries, we're just kind of starting out, no worries. Gives a call after Christmas. Called after Christmas. 3 months later, just every now, here's an email, just reminding you guys I'm still here. And then they asked me to come in. We had a couple of long, really long chats. They asked me to volunteer for a little bit. I did that for a couple of weeks. And because they really needed to get to know me, not necessarily, I went to this school and I did this and that. It's just, can we trust this person? Let's get a gauge. Trust is the major thing.
Oh, yeah.
Can we trust this person? Are they not crazy? Do they seem like they're genuine? And then after I volunteered for a bit and I showed my, my enthusiasm, then they asked me to come on board. So it's really about that. Chase it. Don't send us a million resumes. And all that, but do chase the different companies. This is anywhere in the world. I'm talking to you. Anywhere in the world, chase your local bullion dealer and just say, hey, got some stuff going. I'm happy to volunteer for a bit, or whatever. Because if you show that enthusiasm and you're willing to work for free for a little bit as well, that really gets someone interested.
It is that trust thing.
Yeah.
That's actually the core to it. Particularly. You won't see jobs, particularly in bullion, being advertised as a rule, because it really is. It's trust. A 1 kilo gold bar is about the size of your mobile phone, so it would be really easy for anyone, any of the employees here, any of us, to walk out the store with with 80,000 Australian dollars in their pocket, and no one would actually know.
One in
about
each
it.
pocket.
Yeah. So it has to be that trust. So which is why. I disagree slightly with Joe when he said it's not who you know. I would actually say it is who you know, because you kind of have to you got to base that trust on something, and it's really hard to take someone that you don't have any background knowledge of and say, here, come and work in my shop. I'm going to expose you to tens of thousands of dollars worth of product, and fill your boots.
I feel very lucky to the people who did decide to take me on from just not knowing who this random person was, even though I was on one of the forums and that. But I feel quite privileged to be in this industry for the amount of time that I've been in. But yeah, trust is the huge thing. And building a relationship with your local dealer. The first time if you want to work in the industry, the worst idea is just to ring up and they haven't met you before. You've never been into the store before. You've never bought something before. You've never been. It's better probably to be a bit more of a regular-ish kind of customer, so they know who you are. Rather than just like cold calling out of the blue like I did. But luckily that turned out okay. But
but you were persistent. You hung in there for a long time, and you still made yourself known. Yeah. Through there, and that's really what it comes back to a large degree.
More questions, more comments. Let's have a look. Let's see. Someone's asking, are the Queen's Beast Completer coin, are they the proof or the bullion version?
Bullion version.
Bullion version.
Yeah.
Yep. Gil is asking, will you be getting any new Perth Mint silver coins this year? That was a very general statement, and I appreciate that general question.
I've been looking for a lead-in on this for a while. We've had new Perth Mint coins in this year.
What he means any more Perth Mint coins in?
Look, I'm just watching myself scratch my nose on YouTube. Look, the short answer is yes, there are more coming out. There's the release for the Series 3 Tiger. Will be out. Don't quote me on the date, but I think it's late August, early September-ish. Perth Mint start the release on that. So there's a lot of... There's still many coins to come for 2022, which start coming out in that late August, early September time. So we're all starting to get a bit keyed up about that now. You'll see the new Kookaburra design will come out later on this year as well and be released from memory in December. The Koala doesn't come out till January sort of time. So those sort of things are coming down the pike. There is also an announcement that Bullion Now will make later on. Joe actually doesn't know anything about
all I know is there's an announcement, but he literally won't tell anyone else what it is.
No, and I can't. We're under embargo.
Okay.
So, but stand by. You know, maybe early August-ish.
Oh, okay.
There's an announcement that we can make, and it'll be a lot of fun, and it will be hopefully well received. Mm-hmm. So yes, there's more coming down the pipe.
Fair enough. I reckon, how far are we into this? We're about 35 minutes or so. We've got about 130 watches right now.
Wow.
I think that's pretty good enough, and I think that's given enough time for people to get in. Maybe we put up a little special. How do we think about that?
Yeah, I think. Would you like to announce?
I will do it. We might need. Do we want to get the box as well, or shall I just make it live on the website and go from there?
I'd make it live.
That's a good.
You're a legend, Rubes.
Hey, Rubes, do you happen to know? Before we do it, do you happen to know how many that I can release to the website? Any chance you're able to sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Guesstimate it, quite possibly. So as you guys know, we do specials every now and then. Sometimes we call it the Lazy Saturday special. We call it the, thank God it's Fractional special. You've just given it away. We have got some Fractional silver we actually made a separate video for this. We did, but we thought we're on live stream. We may as well do it. They're not even chatting now. They're just going straight to it. It's not on the web. It's not on the website until I press the button. I'm just trying to get some basic quantities of how many we have. But let's tell them what they are.
So before we do, crack me up, because I didn't think we'd have any more than like 5 or 6 people watching this.
Yeah. So
because this is actually a release we're doing later on this afternoon, and I said, why don't we we'll reward people that want to watch the live stream by allowing them access to it early.
Yeah.
And, that way they don't just have to listen to 2 boring old guys chatting out front.
Hey,
okay.
I resemble
one
that
boring old guy, one slightly younger boring old guy. So they can, they can log on and get a head start on everyone else. The problem is with this number of people in here, I think we're going to get cleaned out.
Well, that's why I'm suggesting we do what we did last time and do the limit of one per customer.
So what we're doing is pre-decimal silver.
Yep.
This stuff is actually 92.5%.
Yes, we've had so many people asking, when are you doing pre-46, pre-46?
So this is all the pre-46 stuff.
Yep.
So it's Australian stuff for anyone that's from overseas.
Yep.
It's our stuff that we used prior to going to decimal currency in 66.
Mm-hmm.
But this stuff is actually pre-46, 1946.
Yep.
So it's the older coins, the threepence, the sixpence, the florins,
yep.
shillings, that type of stuff in there. So each bag will be about 110 grams, which will be about 100 grams
worth of pure silver
weight in there. We're going to make them available as soon as
I find out the rough estimate about that. All right.
So there's about 40 bags of them. Each bag, like I said, weighs about 100 grams.
Yep.
And we'll release that now for anyone that's watching.
And at what price?
At spot price.
Spot price.
So you're buying fractional silver, which is pretty rare.
Yep.
To buy at spot. So
it'll be limited to one per customer, one per account. Fair rule policy applies. Always don't create a separate account for the neighbour's dog and this and that. Yeah, all right, cool. All right. All right, and we have updated. So if you go to the website right now, bullionnow.com.au/store, you'll see it somewhere there. I'll make sure I'm double checking that it is up, but it looks live as far as I'm aware. Spot special. It should say spot special, fractional silver, 100 grams, pure silver weight. Read the thing. It's a limit of 1 per customer. Let me write that. Hang on. Keep talking while I type something.
Oh, go for it. So, it's good stuff. It's fractional stuff. And this comes back a little bit to what I was saying before. Like, some of this stuff is, 1912, 1905. And you wonder, what's its history? Where's it been?
Yeah. Was
it taken over overseas during the Great War? Was it, was it whatever?
Yeah.
So it's that flavour in your stack that I talk about semi-free. I'm going to make a logo, like a shirt up with, Bullion Now.
Add flavour to your stack.
Add flavour to your stack.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's that type of thing. It's just something different. It's fractional, so it's great. It's at spot, so you're buying it at a great price. You don't have to pay for freight straight away. Obviously, under COVID, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that word.
Well,
Under
too
COVID, too late. We absolutely store it here for free until we can work out what COVID's doing. If you're local, you'll be able to come in and pick it up. If not, you can combine it with your other orders later on down the track and have the whole lot freighted out to you.
Yep.
At that point. So
yep.
Absolutely get it while you can. It tends to disappear pretty quickly.
It's going to disappear by the end of this.
It's lagging.
By the end of it, yeah, and now we're hearing. I tried to update it with limit of one per customer, and it took about a minute to update the website, which means everyone's on the website right now.
No one's actually watching whatever.
No one cares.
Anyway.
I could say we could say anything we wanted.
But yeah, it is. Don't put messages on here. There's website's blocked.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't put messages on here about can you reserve me one. The 40 have been dumped onto the website.
Limit of one per
great.
customer.
If you don't get them, I'm really sorry.
Yep.
But yeah, go to the website. So like
wow.
I said, nobody's actually watching now.
If you can't get on the website right now, just take a breather because I'm trying right now and it's not loading.
Well, somebody's just said it's gone.
It means it might.
It can't have gone that quick.
Well, I'm not seeing the things getting pinged through. So.
I've turned my pings off. So
Okay. All right, let's see if there's anything coming through. No, I haven't seen any sales coming through yet. So it should still be there for sure. What else?
That's pretty sad, isn't it?
That's all right. Adding that may just crash the entire live stream. You never know. Let's see.
There's a comment on here from Tech Time C,
and
I don't know if it is. He signed it off Lewis, and I'm assuming it's the Lewis that we all know and love.
Hey, it could be. Hey, Lou.
So if it is, hey.
Hey.
If it's not,
hey. What's up?
But Lewis he actually came down and did work experience with us, which we can't normally do, but I'm not 100% sure why we managed to. Oh no, that was before the insurance requirements that the new ones came in. But we actually had Lewis in for work experience. But prior to him arriving for work experience, the first time we met him, he was on school camp from interstate into Melbourne, and the school excursion was to the local DFO, which is somebody help me here. How would you define the DFO? It's like a factory outlet type thing for clothes and shoes and jewellery and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So they took all the kids there. Well, Lewis didn't want to go to DFO and spend his money on clothes and jewellery and that. He actually convinced one of his teachers to bring him all the way across Melbourne to come to Bullion Now, so he could buy stock buy some silver from us. So that still cracks me up that somebody he would have been 15 at that kind of age, around that age.
Yep.
So for someone at 15 to have that level of perception in investment, I was just spun out. I thought it was fantastic.
Absolutely.
But his question, so getting back to his question, I was just wondering your opinion on numismatic coin investment in comparison to bullion. Thank you, Lewis. You want to launch in on that, or do we want to bring Matt in?
Let's see if Matt's out there. Quite possibly. He has disappeared.
Well, Matt, if you're watching the live stream from somewhere else, come on in and you can join the discussion. But as I said earlier, I'm a Numi guy, I'm a coin guy. And I know in this industry there are a lot of people that don't see the value of coins, because you do pay extra for coins.
Yep.
Even non-numismatic coins, even your kookaburra type things, your koalas, those types of things, you are going to pay more for them than you are for a standard bar. That doesn't make them a bad investment. The same as classic cars. You can pay a lot more for a classic car than for a normal car. Does that make it a bad investment? Absolutely not. So I would say very, very much, and Matt's just walked through the door, I would say very much that numismatic coins are as good, if not a better investment, in some ways. Because to say that a numismatic coin is not worth its value, and some of them aren't, as I said earlier on in the feed, there's some that I wouldn't touch with a barge pole. But to say that numismatic coins aren't worth the money is kind of like saying the Mona Lisa is purely worth the cost of the canvas, the wood around it, and a bit of paint, which It's not. It's worth far more than that. Do you want to join in on the conversation?
Come on, we'll do a swap stick.
Yeah.
Hey, just another day at Bullion Now.
That's right. So, join the newbie section of the conversation, mate.
Now the real show can kick off. Oh, Joe's warmed up the seat. All right, how are we going? Where are we up to?
We're up to numismatics. Are they worth it compared to bullion?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I thought I just caught the tail end of what you were saying there, and I totally agree. Obviously, I think you're buying, often if you go back into the older stuff, you're buying a piece of history. So similarly with the pre-Federation banknotes, you're buying something from a time that we weren't alive in. So that's as close as you're going to be able to get, and I think that's incredible. You can't replicate that kind of thing. Well, you can, but it'll be a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's right. And you and I have seen, we've actually got a video on fakes, but you and I have both seen reproductions.
Yeah.
And, even the official ones, there's very few of them that I would ever touch.
That's it. And those things often serve as like a space filler, like with the 1930 penny. You're into collecting, but not to that extent, you can still round out your collection with a little replica, but they're always stamped with, well, they should always be stamped.
I was going to say, that's a big statement.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's great.
Okay, so let's go numismatic for a second. What's some of your numismatics that you like?
Oof.
That's worth it. That's worth it from an investment. Not just I like this because it's an ACDC coin, and I was into ACDC when I was younger.
Yeah.
Actually, the ACDC coin was quite a good investment. That was a bad example, but you know where I was going with that. What's a good investment coin that you think people can get, or banknote for that matter?
Oh, it's a really good question. There are a few areas that I love. My main passion at the moment, which Ruben's probably sick of hearing about, that I always waffle on when I'm in the office, is Proclamation coins. So these were the...
What's a Proclamation coin?
I'll explain it to you, Michael. Here we go. So these were it was 11 coins that back in the early days of New South Wales, prior to having our own circulating currency, we were using things from all over the place, all over the world, in fact. So you had merchant traders coming through, and they needed to sort of have a bit more stability in their economy. So the governor at the time, Philip Gilded King, put together his proclamation of 11 coins that he wanted to have a set value attributed to them. And yeah, they were from India, the Netherlands, a lot of British coins in there. And yeah, that's a manageable set that people can put together. If you're looking at it in higher quality, it's about a $30,000 set, but you can do it on a bit of a shoestring budget, as I'm currently working my way through. Maybe we'll do an episode one day of my progress on that set.
One of the things I love with that type of collection, we're going well off the bullion topic now, but one of the things I love about those types of collections is that you can get a base collection, so on the cheaper end, and then you can gradually upgrade your coins and then upgrade them again.
Yep.
So eventually in 40 years time, you've actually got a cutting edge, right up there collection.
Absolutely, and that was advice that I was often giving to budding collectors when I was working in the numismatic industry, was get a baseline. I think until you start doing it, and I know that you're a very tactile individual, you like to see, touch and feel things, and in that sense, I think just getting started, if it's something that you're interested in, much like with stacking, with bullion, it's often not until someone comes in and holds the item that they really get it and understand what makes us tick as collectors.
Absolutely.
And so that is, if that's something that someone's looking at getting into, I would suggest just starting. There are numerous, I couldn't tell you how many collections I've started and abandoned partway through, because I realised that wasn't my main passion. So I've started like a tradesman's tokens collection. I've started a bread tokens collection.
Oh, really?
I've got world banknotes. I've got lots of mini projects that never really realised their full potential. So, but in doing that, I've learned a lot and I've enjoyed every step of the way. So, like anything, if you don't enjoy it, if you're not having fun, I wouldn't recommend doing it. But as long as you're enjoying yourself and having fun along the way. But to answer your question, something worth investing in. I think the higher end stuff, and we may have had this conversation in the past, something that is both rare and of a higher quality. So a good example would be like an Adelaide pound, which is Australia's first ever gold coin. There's around about 200 known of them, of the type 2. There are 2 types. The type 1, there's about 10. So that's about getting up close to 100 grand for one of those. But of the type 2, if you get one of those that's closer to uncirculated, that'll be about a $50,000 coin. Something like that has historically gone up in value. And that is getting into that area of getting something that has a very limited quantity and a lot of history attached to it.
What about something cheaper? So I'm on a budget. I've
Yeah.
got 500. I've got $1,000 to spend.
You got $1,000 to spend.
I'm throwing you on the spot here. I
You
didn't
are.
get any leading to this.
It doesn't matter. This is live. This is the nature of live entertainment, right? $1,000. You could pick up a nice sovereign, or you could go, if you were to go into that avenue I was just talking about with the Proclamation coins. You could get a cartwheel tuppence, which was a British coin. It is twice the size of the original cartwheel penny, and you could get a really nice one of those for about $1,000.
Yep.
So something like that, and that also can branch you out into a Proclamation set or something like that, and is always going, in my mind, will always have a significant place in the collector's universe. So that story that's attached to it will never go away.
Yeah.
It also has significance to British collectors as well. So you can get those coins that cross,
Many spectrums.
exactly, and I love it.
Yeah.
But,
Good stuff.
no, last one.
Last
My
one.
last
Here we go.
recommendation is a nice Melbourne Centenary florin. That is my favourite
okay.
coin ever.
With the foils bag?
I've got a Melbourne and a Perth foils bag. I also have a Melbourne Star box,
Oh, wow.
of which it's speculated there's less than 10 of those that exist.
Wow.
That was actually a gift from my old boss. So
Yeah, don't expect that from your boss. Ain't happening, sunshine.
So that's another great example of a coin with a really interesting story. So there were only 75,000 made, of which 54,000 survived. So they made them to celebrate the centenary of Melbourne and Victoria. So it's the only double dated florin in the Australian series. It's 34 and 35. And they only managed to sell 24,000 for the celebrations. And then 30,000 were given to Foy and Gibson's, the retailers. So they distributed them in their change. Hence the bags, which are also very rare.
Yeah, they are very.
You shouldn't have got me started on this rabbit hole. I've completely hijacked this stream. People are
That's
going to be in
all
the
right.
comments saying, oh, give this guy a rest.
Well, we're going to bring Jay back in anyway. So.
Well, on that, hi, I'll just come back in.
Hey,
On
Joe's
that,
here.
we had that question from before from Begotten Creation, and we said we'd get back to it, and that was about the gilded. What do we think of gilded and bimetallic coins? So that's definitely a question for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thank you very much. I think gilded in the sense of, so what are we talking? Are we talking like a gilded cook? Something like that?
I think that's what they're referring to, yeah.
Okay. I think they're amazing. I think they're really great. The best example of that in recent memory is the 2020 Kookaburra. They did a 2-ounce gilded.
Oh, yeah,
And that was-
that's right, yeah.
I had to ring in a couple of favours to get that for my personal collection. And there are times when done well that it really sets off a design. The way they did that, they had Queen Elizabeth gilded on one side, the rim as well was totally gilded, and then the Kookaburra design. But like anything, it comes down to personal preference, right? So I wouldn't go out on a limb and say, oh, if there's a gilded release, you need to jump on it and it will, it'll skyrocket in value. It's very much a case by case. And that was one where I acted on my gut. I saw the design, I saw the promo photos, and I thought, yeah, I've got to have this. But I've got that in every fraction. I've got all the whole bullion sizing spectrum for that coin because I just think that again, it ties in with, it's got the historic sense of the obverse has a smaller version of the original 1990 design.
Yeah.
And so I realise it's putting a bit of a spin on it, but I feel like it's a 2-for-1 coin. You really, you're getting a lot of value there.
Yeah.
That was my take on
I've got
it.
to say, the 2020 Cook was my favourite release for a long time. They did a great job with it, gilded or not.
Yeah.
What was the other one, gilded or
Bimetallic.
bimetallic? The bimetallic one, as a rule, I would say isn't worth it traditionally. Having said that, the bimetallic that the Perth Mint's been producing, the platinum gold one, and they did a gold silver one, and I can't remember what the design was on it. No, it was the Wedgetail Eagle. That they did of the Wedgetail Eagle. Great coin, great design. I'm a little iffy on this year's design, but previously it's been a really good design and it's been a really good investment as well. So that is one that I'd say the bimetallic has worked and worked well.
Yeah, there are some, I'm testing myself trying to remember the date. It was sometime around the millennium. They did the ones with the star, the golden star with the silver outer.
Yeah.
I think something like that was a great design. It was really good in theory, but it just didn't strike a chord with the vast majority of the collecting community. So sometimes when a release like that is too far out of a thematic collection, it can sort of go by the wayside, which I think that's a good example of one that didn't really hit its mark. But I would say through no fault of the Mint, because it looked really cool, something a bit different.
Look, with Numis particularly, I would suggest seeking advice from at least one person. But you do need to be careful with it. Matt and I were actually joking about this earlier on, where we were picking out a couple of different coins, Numi coins, modern ones in particular, in this case, that had flopped. And we were kind of saying sometimes too much knowledge in this field is actually a disadvantage, because you go, oh, this one will work, it's got this theme and it's this design and it's guaranteed to work.
Yeah.
And it just fails dismally. And, it's because we look at the technical side of it, of why this is brilliant, but your average person kind of looks at it and goes, well, that's crap.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it doesn't go anywhere. So, I stick that question over question mark over the thing. But if you're starting to want to go down towards the Numi line, seek some advice from someone that you know and trust if you can, and that type of thing.
And that's it. And as you always say, you're always a big advocate for do your own research. And I think that is incredibly valuable, because at the end of the day, if I tell you that I think an Adelaide pound is a great coin and you go and buy one, and then you're at a loose end as to what to do next, and then you say, oh, well, Matt said in that video that it would be a great thing to do. At the end of the day, you need to be responsible and accountable for anything that you do with your own finances. Channels like this are great, and I've always been a big fan of this channel. This is exciting again. I say it sometimes before we film a video. I love being a part of this kind of stuff. I think it's a lot of fun, like, to be on this side of the camera. And I'll probably watch this video at home again tonight. I think it's great. And I think just having that dialogue is so important, to be able to freely discuss these kind of ideas, and customers that come in and chat about us here in the shop about that kind of thing, and see them on the phone. I just think that's a really powerful tool that we all have access to, which is great.
Yeah. We'll actually I'm taking you back just a little bit.
Yeah, please do.
We'll do a video in the not too distant future. We brought some pre-fed banknotes, Matt and I, recently, and one of them people had sought professional advice on, and it sold at a previous auction for $28,000, and we paid far less than that a couple of years later, and there's a whole reason why the pre-fed market crashed in Australia. And we should have
that'd be a great video
on that one. I'm going to bring Joe back in. We'll probably need to start wrapping this up, because we've been rabbiting on for well over half an hour now.
It's been good. I've been watching down the other end. I finally gave up waiting at the door. I went down the other end, and then I heard my name and came running down.
Thank you for your input.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
Tag team. Hey, thank you, Matt. That was awesome as always.
Yeah.
Our is Matt still technically our newest recruit? In this side, I guess maybe this side of the store. This side?
Going to say our packaging department's just taken on a new recruit.
Oh, good.
So he's not the newest, but he's certainly the newest in the store. Having said that, his depth of knowledge does not make him wet behind the ears. We'll put it that way.
No, he's an absolute credit to the company.
Yeah.
We're basically going to start wrapping it up now. We might try and answer a couple of questions that we've kind of missed. There was one question which was me pertaining, but I will answer it. Gil asked, does Joe sing in a club?
Handing over.
Look, you guys know, if you've watched the Epic Unboxings or Michael's Mailbox or someone, you hear me singing a bit. I do the non-real Joe singing version of that. The real answer is yes, I actually am. Yes, I do sing in not a club, many different ones, basically weddings, parties, anything. Been pretty much a vocalist for going on nearly 20 years. That's been my main throughput of my career, and then
this is, I've had a bunch of other day jobs before getting into the bullion industry in 2013, but that's what I do.
If you're in the store, ask him to do a U2 impression.
Don't give away so much. But I do many different things. So yes, but short answer is yes, I do that. What else? There's something about security. We've come on now. It's 3:30 now. This is an hour. We've done an hour.
Oh, there you go.
That's amazing.
I thought we'd be pushing to do half an hour.
That's what I thought too.
But I thought we'd be pushing to have more than 5 people watch us.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go down to the bottom.
There was a comment about, can you show what's behind you with the cabinets? I can't move the camera, so I really can't. No. But actually, in the notes, if we want to do like if someone's taking notes here, we might actually do a video of just moving around the store. The other one that we should highlight and we haven't done is what we call Matt's Corner, which is, it's not numismatic, it's bullion that has a numismatic tone to it. So it might be a privy mark on it. Usually older style coins might have a privy mark, it might be part of a series or anything along those sort of lines. And that's a great, it's kind of that, it's that step between the numismatic side and the bullion side. It's kind of a halfway house, and that's really good, so we should highlight that some more later on.
Someone named Leo asked, that's an interesting question, what type of people, job, occupation, etc. buy large bars, so your 1,000-ounce silver bars, your 1 kilo gold bars? And the answer is all and sundry.
Yeah.
It's anyone. It can be the high flyer, person who made their money on the stock market, or a big CEO of a business, but it can be someone who has saved up a lot of money and they're just your average Joe and they saved up because they want to buy a kilo of gold. So it's it's everyone, or a 1,000-ounce bar, which is your 30k roughly Australian. So
it's not usually the guy that's never bought before. They don't usually walk in and say, I'd like to buy a kilo. But actually they do say that, but usually we work them around to what they actually want fairly quickly.
The main sorry to interrupt in that, the main thing that, and I'm plugging the business right here, is if you come into the store, if you've got friends who are thinking about coming in and you're trying to get them into the precious metals, bring them here, because we don't just sell them what they asked for originally, because we ask questions and we want to make sure that we're educating, non-financial advice of course, but someone might come and go, I want a kilo of gold, and we don't go, okay great, we go, how come? What's your exit strategy? What are you thinking? And then inevitably you've got people who go, no, I just want a kilo, and we go, no problem, totally fine. But probably 80% of the time they'll come to realise maybe they weren't looking for a kilo, that's just what they've got in their head, and they may consider diversifying.
Yeah, through it. Don't take away from those comments that we try, like we go,
no, we're not trying to steer you into...
We've got these in stock, we really want you to buy these. One of the things that we often say around here, and one of the things I love, is we actually don't sell gold, silver, platinum. We don't sell anything here. It sells itself. None of us are actually salesmen. We point people in a direction, or usually they come in saying, I want this, and we try and help them make the best selection they can, because we don't actually have to sell anything. People have already made up 90% of the decision before they've even contacted us. So it's a really great industry to be in from that perspective.
Absolutely.
But I guess where I was going with that was, most people usually build up to the larger bars. So they'll buy some smaller, they'll buy an ounce of gold, or they'll buy some ounce coins or 10-ounce coins or a few kilo bars, and then they will build themselves up to the big bar. And it can be for a variety of reasons. They might do it because they've they want to pay low premium, because we've said before many times, the bigger you go, the lower the overall premium on the product. It may be that they want a talking point, or they want bragging rights. I've got a 1,000-ounce bar, or I've got a kilo bar of gold, that type of thing. So it could be for a few different reasons why they do it. But yeah, absolutely, it's everyone right across the spectrum. You can never pick, when someone walks through the door, if they're going to spend
You have no
$30,
idea.
like $40 on a 1 ounce silver coin, or $400,000 on a variety of things, and you literally go from one customer spending $40 to the next customer spending $400,000, and you have to switch your brain around that quickly.
You cannot judge a book by its cover
Yeah.
in this industry. In fact, it's not the opposite. But if I saw someone coming in who was your busted up shoes and this and that, I would actually be, and they were quite, eloquent speaking, I'd be wondering, are you trying to hide in plain sight? Are you, how much? You probably have a lot more money than all of us combined, because I found that. I don't know if you found that, but the really ultra rich people are very down to earth and they don't show it, and sometimes they deliberately try to not show it. So never judge a book by its cover in this industry. We're going to wrap it up there. It's been over an hour. We've consistently had over 100 people, which is good.
It's fantastic.
Great for a first one.
Yeah.
Particularly, and different time zones and all that, so not everyone's up at the right time and all that. Just so you know, I'll mention just before we go, before the website crashes again, we still have, according to the website, 13 100-gram bags left of the of the fractional silver special at spot. So again, if you've already bought one, please don't go back and buy another one. Save them for others. So maybe if you're watching this live stream in the next 15 minutes or not too long, next hour or so after we're done, you never know, you still might nab one.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty much it.
Let us know if this format works, because we obviously don't want to waste your time or ours. So if you like these live feeds, live chats, we might do some more. If you'd like to see them regularly, let us know. If you'd like us to change the format, let us know. If you'd like us to cover certain topics or bring in certain people, because I'd love to bring in some guest speakers other than just Matt. Let us know. Just provide any feedback that you'd like. Unless you've got anything else to add.
Well, the last thing I'll say is like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff that we tell you to do.
Yeah.
And as always, that's it from me.
And from me too.
We will see you soon.
See ya.
Hit the button.
Turn me off. Are we clear?
Let's change it over to the test. Just stock
Audio?
standard drink.
Just make sure we can't still hear audio.
You can't hear audio on the screen.
I'm just checking. Just wait.